Hey kids, thought I'd show you the process I'm going through right now with trying to find a new boat. I haven't got the farm sold yet. Hopefully it'll sell pretty soon, but in the meantime I've been doing a lot of boat shopping, and I thought you might find it interesting to see kind of the process I go through. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Okay, so let me show you what it is I normally look at. This is a website I like to use quite a bit. It's called Yachtworldcom. And it's where all of the boat brokers list their boats all over the world. They all use the same website, post their boats up here for sale. Now, typically you'll end up spending a bit more for a boat found on Yacht World than you would, say, Craigslist, because the people on Craigslist usually aren't working through brokers, whereas everything on Yacht World is pretty much through a broker. Brokers do offer you some safety in that they do tend to maintain some standards, make sure the paperwork is all done correctly. There are some advantages to buying through a broker, but certainly you do pay for that service. All right, so in my search string here, what I've looked for is I looked for a used sailboat in the United States between 38 and 42 feet, newer than 1990, and between 10 and 60,000 US dollars. The search brought up 20 boats, and so we're just going to go down and take a look at them. Most of these are not the kind of boat I'm looking for. Dug fir strip planking, I don't want a wood boat. Gaff rig schooner for $10,000, this thing needs just a ton of work. 42-foot Taylor, more of a race boat, not a cruising boat. The Sea Runner looks like it just needs a ton of work. Here's a CNC 3740 wing keel. Very much like the boat that the Rough Seas is, a CNC 37. Again, not a sugar scoop type boat. Also for sale in St. Petersburg, which has me concerned about the condition of its well, the boat as a whole from the hurricane. So anyhow, 92 custom steel, interesting boat, but not what I'm looking for. William Garden type design, kind of like a Formosa. These usually, typically are very nice boats, but again, it doesn't have a sugar scoop that I'm looking for. The Taylor is more of a race boat. A Benetau tri-cabin, but not a real typical, let's take a look at it. Not a typical sugar scoop. You see here, this is the level of the first deck, and it's a long ways up out of the water, so you're having to use a lot of ladder to get up onto that boat. I was hoping for something, with a step down at least that level or closer to the water. And this one's got some sort of weird big cover made for it, which I find just a little odd. It does have davits for a dinghy. It has a big pole on the back for a radar dome. So it does have some things that are pretty interesting. In mast furling. Let's take a quick look at this Benetau, shall we? Here's a picture from the back. Okay, so it's pretty good access, but still not as low as I would hope. Has radar, has a wind gen, in mast furling, has the foresails up on a furler as well. Overall, looks like a pretty decent boat for $54,000 in Fort Lauderdale. Here's your chain locker, electric windlass, 91 Benetau 390. Looks like there's room for 2 outboard mounts on the back. Looks like they have a swing out bar for raising and lowering the dinghy onto the back of the boat. Well, that has some potential. I do like the in-mast furling. That allows you to completely wrap the sail up inside the mast to give it UV protection. And it gives you an infinite possibilities as far as how much you want to, how much sail you want to run out versus not. So you have endless amounts of reefing that you have the ability of doing with that. Typical foredeck. Lots of ventilation, Durade boxes with scoops. It looks all nice. There's the stern.
Possibly some storage on the sides. There's a dinghy up on davits. Pretty small dinghy. Looks pretty old. May need a patch, not holding air. What I do like about this boat is that the rear stays coming back. Here's the stays. Here and here, I believe, are the stays coming back for the mast as opposed to a center stay. So there's some advantage to that design. I don't like the fact that there's not storage up here. There's not cabinets on these on the gunnels. Pretty typical. Kind of a dark boat. Seems to be very dark interior. Out of focus. Small galley. Okay. Let's see what else there is. Come on, go back. Come on. There we go. All right. Carroll Marine 12 FARs. These are kind of racing boats. J boat's more of a racing boat than a cruising boat. West Sail, again, these are a really good, well-designed Bob Perry design. Typically not a sugar scoop, though, rear on them. All right, here we go. Here's a Manatee 38. This one doesn't have a Dodger or a Bimini. This one here looks like a Manatee Moorings 3891. Pretty much the same boat. This one has a Dodger and a Bimini in mast furling. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Lake Champlain. So it's upstate New York. It has not been affected by the hurricanes. Probably not. Freshwater boat. Looks like we have some solar panels. You got to do a bit of sleuthing when you look at these boats. You really got to look at them. This rigging that you see here is actually another boat behind this one. That's not on this boat. So we have the head sails on a roller furling, and we have in-mast furling on the mainsail. Looks pretty straightforward. Another view showing the entire mast. Now see, this is a lot lower. That makes it easier to get in and out. But see how it's got the rear stay coming back right here down the middle? You'd have that cable in the road. Still, that's something you could work around. Looks like it's got throw ring spot here for an outboard motor to hit. Framework looks like it's got 2 solar panels. Probably room for a second or a third. Right here, it looks like there's a swing out arm for pulling the dinghy motor off the dinghy and swinging it onto this board here. So that's convenient for lifting up stuff. And for me, that's convenient because I could also pull crab traps and shrimp traps using that. So I could see where that could come in real handy. GPS map 720, older system, but serviceable. It's got a grill. You'll see these clear plexiglass curtains. These are drop downs that zip together. That's nice. That way you can kind of enclose the back of the boat when you've got a lot of rain. There's a different view of it. This appears to be some kind of a light on the back of the boat. Interesting. Another view. Another view. That shows the back step. Looks like there's storage in the middle. Looks like there's storage here on both sides of this. This here in the middle is your emergency tiller situation. Should your wheel steering break, there'll be a handle with a ratchet that'll fit into here. You can mount that. You actually pull this plate off, and then underneath there'll be a place for the emergency tiller handle to fit into. And it'll allow you to steer the boat. This looks like a screen that goes in the companionway. There's another throwing device for man overboard. Nanny diesel. So nanny diesels are a Kubota engine as a diesel, good engines. Here's all your typical gauges, wind speed, direction, tri-data. Here's your VHF. Typical. This is a roller furling for the head sail coming back. Looks like you can tie it off to this cleat here. There's the arm for pulling the motor off the dinghy. or for pulling crab traps. All right, now here's a view of the side deck. A couple things I wanted to point out. This is your adjustment for your head sail or your mainsail. This track is forward of the Dodger, and that kind of gets it out of the area where you walk, so that's kind of a convenience there. The standing rigging all mounts here on these chain plates is inbound, so someone can walk up and down the side decks and not have anything outbound from them. As a fisherman, that's really convenient for me if I have to work my way up around the side of the boat bringing in a fish. Now here you see this is the Dodger and the Bimini, and the Bimini actually has windows in the top of it. That helps for being able to look up and see your mainsail while you're underway. Kind of nice. Looks like plenty of ventilation up front. You've got electric windlass on the anchor. This looks like it's set up for 2 anchors. Yep, divided anchor box or chain box. This is nice. So you got all chain on this side. Here you've got chain and rode. So this would probably be good for a day anchor, and then you lay out the all chain over here for when you get serious or to anchor overnight. Looks to be a little rough, but it looks like it's pretty clean. I do like these tow rails along the bottom. You can see those. They've got a whole bunch of holes drilled all the way along for letting water through. But it makes it nice to put the netting up on the lifelines. It gives you someplace to secure stuff too. Got a light up on the mast. Pretty typical mast setup. Another view of the side deck. Another view of the mast. Now this is the furling mechanism for the mast system. This is basically a drum just like the rest of the winches. It goes back inside and it has a gear that turns the spindle that the mast or the mainsail is mounted to. You can see this runs down here to the floor, turns some turning blocks, goes across. It goes around some other blocks and then it heads back into the main cockpit, which is really nice. That means that if you're needing to change your sail, if you need to put in a reef as an example, you can do that without having to come out of the cabin or out of the cockpit rather. So that's really convenient. Seeing these spider webs up on here tells me there's probably going to be a lot of deferred maintenance on this boat. Things that are going to need cleaning up and buffed up and polished. But you'd expect that. Okay, well, bright and colorful inside. So this is a center table. These leaves that you see hanging down here on both sides, these fold up. A little storage in the middle. Nice bookshelf. Looks like some cabinets on the side for additional storage. I don't know about this seat. This arch piece right here seems to me that might be uncomfortable, but I don't know. I haven't sat on it, so I'll have to find out. I've never sat on one like that before. I'm not a big fan of the little round sinks. I would probably open this up into one large sink there. But that's something that could be done with time. Looks like some good fans, some good light. It's very bright and light in there. Looks kind of pleasant, actually. There's your head. This is a fold-down seat here that covers the head. Here's your shower handle. This has got some spot up here that hooks onto. So you can take a shower. It's what you call a wet head. It means everything in here gets wet from the shower. That's why this seat folds down. And from the looks of this right here, I'm assuming this is on the port side, astern, right underneath the cockpit. Your nav station, AC/DC panels. Looks like a light, stereo system, VHF. Little corkboard there on the side. There's a little zoomed in AC/DC panel. Stereo. Looks like a VHF. Interesting that the VHF appears to be plugged into the 12 volt instead of just hardwired onto the boat. I don't know why they would do that. Nice big refrigerator. Wow, a lot of room there. Navigation station. Yeah, I like these cabinets here. I wish these cabinets ran all the way across. Look how they put foam on here to stop people from bouncing their heads on them, bumping their heads on these. Not a big fan of that. Little fold-up table. Typical galley. Kind of small, actually. I mean, you're right up against this wall. This is the door going back into a quarter berth. Got some storage in there. Not a lot of storage in that galley. Certainly bright and colorful, isn't it? There shows one of the leaves folded up for dining. Oil lamp, always helpful to have on board the boat in case you lose power. Bookshelf. Up in the V berth. There must be two heads on this boat because it looks like a cabinet or door here going into a head here up in the V berth. But there's a small V berth. Hanging locker, okay. All right, that's more of the V berth. More locker storage up in the V berth. Nice clean engine, look at that. Very nice. Or you got a pump on there for pumping out oil for oil changes. Very handy. Well laid out. There's another head, or that may be the same head. Hard to tell. I think that's the same one. This is the quarter berth in the back. This would be the starboard. Right behind the nav station. You must have a cat on board. I don't know if you noticed that in the previous picture, but there's an animal crate. Like plenty of storage. It's like a water filter, probably underneath the sink. Guess that's where they store all the pots and pans. All right, so let's go ahead and take another look at the statistics on this boat. It's a 38-foot, 1991. $12.5-foot beam, 5.5-foot draft. That's nice. Had anti-fouling put on in 2015. That's nice. Selden standing rigging. 150% Genoa. 5 self-tailing 2-speed winches. Got the nanny. Only 250 hours on the diesel. That barely even broke in. PSS seal, 25 millimeter shaft with a rope cutter. That's your prop shaft. It only has 3 batteries, 1 start battery and 2 house batteries. And it doesn't say what the total amperage is. 2 solar panels, 130 watts each. So I would need to upgrade that considerably. Fuel, 120 liters. That's pretty good. Not huge, but that's pretty good. Garmin charts, wind depth, standard GX 2200. AIS repeater. That's nice to have. 2 cabin, large salon, 3-burner propane. New propane installation, 2017. So they just redid the propane installation. Something that's always overlooked, but a serious thing that needs to be looked at. 3-burner propane stove and oven, new in 2008. But it's only got 250 hours on this boat, so I don't imagine that's been used very much. Large refrigerators, hot water tank 2008. 130 gallons in fresh water, 35-gallon holding tank. Very nice. I see. Second bathroom converted to additional storage space. That makes me understand that, because what I thought was a back bathroom turned out to be a big hanging locker, so they just made that the storage space. I think that'd be a good location to locate a washer and dryer, actually. Transom shower, really good to have. Lumar windlass, 2 anchors, CQR with 125 feet of chain, and a Delta with chain and nylon rod. Yeah, this looks like a pretty good boat. This would definitely be something that I would be interested in. 91 Benetel moorings, 38 on Lang Champlain. So that's kind of what I do. I just go down through here and I look through the various boats and, you know, go one to the next and see what they have and, you know, see what's on them and what the details are. And then, of course, once I sell the farm and have the money, I'll actually be able to go out and start looking at these in earnest, not just dreaming away here on Yacht World. So, but that's my life for now. Anyhow, guys, please do like and subscribe if you would. Check out these videos if you like this kind of thing. I would certainly appreciate it. And in the meantime, we will catch you next time. So, you guys have a great day. Thanks.